Ta-da! Hey, welcome to Bronx 10. This is Ivan Velez Jr., better cartoonist from the Bronx. And my guest here is Juanita Lanzo. Thank you so much for being my guest, Juanita.
My
Um,
pleasure.
the Bronx 10 is we're putting 10 artists together and giving you 10 questions in 10 minutes while I do a 10-minute sketch. Before the first question, can you tell me how you like to be called and what is your wheelhouse in art?
I like to be called Juanita. What do I consider my art? I don't know. That's a tricky question. I think my art is maybe a journal. I don't know. I think I register feelings through making art. I call
Uh-huh.
it organic abstraction, but I think I make are those hybrid. I combine different organs and vegetation parts to create a what may look like a form that it's like biomorphic, that is
Right.
inspired in when people see it, maybe one can think of trees or leaves or like organs inside the body, or plants. So it's a combination of all of those things combine, and I do that to kind of like maybe create metaphors, for things that are always alluding to living things and living systems, life support systems. So they're not a particular theme per se, but I think it's all those things.
Right. So, what's your connection to the Bronx? First question.
So my connection to the Bronx, I think it started with me moving there in 1999. I moved to the Bronx. I came to New York only to be here for 2 years to go to school, to grad school, and then return to Puerto Rico. But during that time, I lived with my cousin in Bainbridge Avenue, so not too far from
Yeah.
probably where you are, Bainbridge Avenue, 193rd Street.
Wow.
uh, and of course, ever since I lived on Walton Avenue, and then I lived in New Jersey for a year. But then came back really because it was kind of like I was helping people around. I live in East Harlem now, but for 25 years, I have been working in the Bronx, where I share studio space with my husband, John. I used to work at the Bronx Museum. I've been a consultant on and off for Enfoco. I worked for the Bronx Council on the Arts, Longwood Gallery for 13 years. I quit that job in 2018 to pay more attention to my own work and to apply some of the things that I have told artists to do. Is like, it's my turn. It's my turn to do it. And I currently work for Studio School as a teaching artist in the area of Crotona Park. So I've been there now for 6 years, more or less. Four, if you don't count the pandemic years, that's about 4 or 5 years. So I'm still based in the Bronx, and is a place on all the boroughs that feels more to me like home. As much as I love East Harlem, where I live,
Hmm.
I'm most of the time in the Bronx, which is funny. So I think Bronx is like my second home right now.
How are you feeling about the world these days?
That varies. Um, I sometimes, on and off. There's an image that I went to show last summer. I think it was called The Walking Dead. And there's a character that I don't know, threw me off my feet because when the show came out, I never looked at it. So recently, I kind of watching Netflix found it, and it's this woman called Michonne Sanders. She may be very
True.
different in the comic books
Yeah.
than, but
Yeah.
the image of Michonne with that katana sword and the how she navigated through a horrible ordeal at the end of the war. Not that I'm very privileged and fortunate. I have a very, what I consider a good life. I have a family, I have a job, I have good friends. Um, Sometimes I feel like Michonne Sanders, angry, but Michonne is not angry. She's just trying to survive in a world that is very, um, violent and wrong. And she's using her skills to get by and help others. Other times I feel like a nun. Anyway, in the sense of doing something from behind the scenes. So I think I like to. when I'm gonna get angry, I like to think that there's some good left in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very fortunate that I do experience little moments where I see kindness in people. Not too long ago, I saw these in the blocks to my school. There's a barber shop and a tattoo shop by Boston Road, and there was this lady having trouble with the walker, and this guy's like look super rough with tattoos and the street and all of that. They were assisting this lady, and they greet her when they see her, and they hold the door
Nice.
open for her. So I navigate through neighborhoods that have a mix of what looks super tough, maybe dangerous, could look to the people in the outside. People play domino too in the sidewalk regularly. So I see a lot of moments and instances of love, kindness, and caring for others.
Yeah.
So the way I feel about the world, I look into those places, so then I can get my and not get angry at people. That's how I feel about the world. I mean, it's horrible. We're living in a place where people are being displaced. There's genocide going on, and there's a lot of like power grabbing stuff. Colonialism is catching up with its past, so it's not good. But I think we are being, we're aware of these things, and we're making the best we can with what we have.
Can art help?
Yes. I think so. And you know what? It's interesting. I do, the day after the election, I went to work, and I have one of the best days ever at work. I don't even want to call it work because it's not really work, but it's where I go work.
Right.
And kids were having conversations about things they do, TV, what they're going to do at recess. And that was so amazing. So they make art, and I never said that I'm teaching them to make art. They do this very intuitively. It's them that come with the, I have the lesson there, I put the materials in front of them, and they're extraordinary. So in that regard, art helps me, seeing them make the art and expressing themselves. But I think that the way people dress, the fashion, all these other things that exist in the outside of what people want to call art, like art with capital letters, I think those are important, those self-expression things, how people prepare food, how people listen to music. There's so many other art forms out there that I think are so amazing, the joy of people. So I think art helps.
What is the importance of art in your life, in your personal life?
I'm not very good at saying things, although I talk a lot. But I think the only way I can express my feelings is through art. I think that's why I make art, because I don't know. I don't know how to say certain things, or to, I also put wonderful and happy thoughts into my art, but also dark. That's how I battle with my own demons too. But it helps me either express my feelings. It affects my mood too. Sometimes a song can make you cry, or a memory gets activated too. Like art can go into so many places too, and also I can think of moments in my life according to the kind of artwork I was making, like the way I keep my journals, I express my feelings, I communicate with other people, but I also like to consume art made by others. That could be movies. So there's music, there's books, there's, I even love what people wear. Sometimes I go, oh, that's a cool outfit. Or how kids are getting, like, I see art pretty much everywhere and anywhere. So it just makes me think that I don't have to breathe, sleep, eat, and I don't know, just those basic life functions that we have. It helps us transcend beyond that,
What was it about art that attracted you at first?
The answer is I don't know, but I think it was that I always thought it was weird as a kid, because I would watch ants in anthills, or I once saw a spider made a spider web right in front of me.
Ooh.
And I thought it was the most amazing thing I ever seen. And I thought that, I drew as a kid on the walls, and my mom was like, oh, you can do that, please stop, I'll get you paper. And it was a way of, I was an introvert kid, so you could put me in a corner for hours and I could draw, read, look at ants, or I don't know, chase a mosquito. I think I felt that I could make art. To me, making art was nothing special, but it was who I was.
Right.
I never thought I could do anything with it because I said, poor people don't make art like that. You could do it as a hobby on the side, right? But then as I got older, I thought it was more important for me. It was defining my personality. Like some girls could be pretty or dance or be popular. I'll make art. Like people will, I used to make fashion design drawings. So people will, ask me, can you make a drawing for my senior prom or whatever it was, or my wedding? Even my mom would say, can you draw a dress for yourself so then we can take it to the costurera, the lady that sells your clothes, so then, for church. So it's part of how I wanted to say things. So I feel it was kind of like helping me
Right.
build my vocabulary and express myself. So
Who was your biggest artistic influence?
I have too many.
Well, pick one that you think really hit the spot, particularly in the beginning.
Maybe they have changed, but I think one thing, you won't believe this, but one thing that really made that kind of like tick into me, that I was reading Frankenstein, and I don't remember when. It was in college, and
Uh-huh.
of course I seen the movies and all of that, but when I read the book I cried, which is kind of like, wow, a book can make you cry. Yes. So I was reading Frankenstein, and it was nothing what I envisioned to. It was for literature or something like that.
Right.
And it really affected me. Maybe it was at the time I was reading it. I was probably 20, 21 years old. And, you were working into, oh my God, I'm in college. I have to be an artist now. How do you become an artist? But it was interesting because it was maybe the combination of turning 20. I was listening. It was something about the creation, the idea of creation, and the idea of going beyond, like wanting to cross those lines that maybe you shouldn't. It's a little bit like wanting to play God. That's the tragedy of this whole thing. But it's also with like that transgression that you have to make in order to make art, to make something happen, follow that. And I think that book, till this day, affected me very deeply, in the sense that I thought that I said, oh my God, I'm like that doctor. I really want to take all these things and combine them and put something together. I wanted to invent something, to create something that didn't exist. At the time, I was just I was doing figure drawing.
Right.
Uh, but in my mind, I was thinking, and it was something completely weird. And my teacher was like, where's that coming from? That's not what was in front of you. Um, so I think that kind of like, turning up on me, and I said, I think this is what I want to do. It wasn't the only thing, but I remember being deeply affected by that kind of like thinking, behind Mary Shelley's invention of the story about someone inventing something, and that transgression and kind of breaking with natural laws or something like
What is your least liked aspect of art culture?
that. The validation part. The fact that, I mean, this is gonna sound contradictory, given that for some time until this day, I do like this idea of artists building community,
Mhm.
so then they can put their artwork out there, because you can create alone in the studio and enjoy it. But then there's gonna be a point where I think some things are so special and important that they need to be shared with others. Not
Right.
necessarily. I think now I'm more like, but I think that there's not one art world, but there is one art world, and it's very tied to money, power.
Mm.
And sadly, Carlos and I were talking about how people become super rich, how ruthless you have to be in order, or maybe not, to make that money. We're talking about real estate in New York City. But anyway, one aspect of art um, that upsets me is that sense that what it's maybe an idea tied to success that could be very damaging. Of course, I would love to make a living out of my art, but I don't know if that will ever happen. So I'm just gonna continue to do my daytime job. But I don't like the part of validation. I don't like the idea of canons, because I don't like the idea if it's rooted in something that is really oppressive and that is a continuation of all the problems that we're experiencing right now. So, and I do think that this time these things are connected.
What's the favorite part of our culture, art culture?
I think that, that idea that you can find more creatures like you or that you can gravitate towards
I
too.
like that.
I like that. When I was seeing, I went to an art high school in Puerto Rico the last 2 years. It took forever for me to get into that school for the reasons you know. And my mom said, let's play dirty here. Let's get you into that school too. And I feel that finally, I was 15 years old when this happened. I finally felt that my weirdness made total sense. For the first time in my life, I'm like, oh my God, I'm weird. And there's more people. It's not that I stopped. It's just that finally I felt at home at the school, and there were like-minded people. We could talk about the Twilight Zone. We could talk about gender bending. Like there were things, I mean, the rules were super strict, but it was this thing that I find that there was like-minded people. And even if they didn't like art, they did weird stuff. So I think the cool thing is finding, you can find community, being challenged too. It's a good thing about art. Even if people are not artists, it's just finding this common place where you can come together and share your ideas, your fears, your aspirations, let your demons go out of the closet for a moment. That kind of place, I think that's what is great about art.
What is your dream creation? What are you hoping to create one day?
I want to make a room the size of a hangar or something.
Ooh.
I have a couple of ideas, but I like to make a film where these things that I make are animated and they're an immersive film. And I still don't have the plot, but I watch. I think it's called Fantastic Journey or something like that. It's a ship that gets miniaturized.
Yeah, fantastic.
Gets inside the body.
Fantastic Voyage.
Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
Let me write it down. I've been meaning to get that movie. So I like to make a film like that.
But
less campy. Well, campy can be good. I like campy. I like camp. Or make an installation where the shapes that I make are actually sculptures and they kind of move a little bit.
Okay.
And people go into them. So yeah, something like that where people get, I don't know, somehow affected by it.
Okay.
Somehow and they interact with it. So I have enjoyed film and interactive installations. So, yeah.
That's the end of our 10 questions. You want to see the drawing?
Oh, yes, I would love.
It's very, very not so good, but it's quick.
Are you kidding me? You got my super. I'm gonna get even bigger glasses when I get my new prescription.
You gotta make them even because look at.
No, I think it's good.
But 10 minutes is not bad. Yeah.